Don't be stupid, lady.
Excuse me, it's detective. I'm a little type A, and I practice all the time with this thing. I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2,
Fight me, bitch!
3.
I was very fortunate to be able to adapt The Mysteries of Laura for American television. The project was brought to my attention by my manager, a guy named Aaron Kaplan in Los Angeles. And among other things, he's in the business, as are most literary managers in LA, of identifying potential formats for American television. Because I'm a client of his, I got early access to a trailer for the show. This is about 4 years ago. And I saw the original Spanish language trailer, and I was immediately delighted by it.
Señora Quintana, somos policías.
Right away said, please, let's try to take this off the market, and I'd like to take a shot at it. We brought the project into Warner Brothers, which is the television studio that I'm affiliated with in LA, and they saw the potential immediately as well, and that got the ball rolling. It's a long and multi-layered process to get a format off the ground in LA, like anything else. NBC's offer was most competitive, and we went with them. And then, that was the summer of 2013, and I spent that fall writing the pilot episode. Got the good news that we had a green light to shoot the episode in January of the next year.
This is a depraved, unspeakable act. Get ready to be inside for a very long time.
Sorry, Mommy.
We went out for actors and lucked into a wonderful television star in the U.S. named Deborah Messing, who already was an international star from a comedy series called Will and Grace, which really was an international sensation.
Hello. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Deborah signed on, we shot the pilot, and we got on the air of summer of that year, and we ran for a couple seasons.
The wife doesn't feel safe with the local brass, so I told the chief that we'd do a drive-by.
To Bedford? Oh, you know I'm allergic to Westchester. Take Meredith. She'll pee her pants.
For the initial episode, the pilot episode, I was incredibly faithful to the source material, and I found myself very lucky to have the luxury of an incredibly well-structured, thoughtful mystery that was surprising and suspenseful, combined with really wonderful character work. There was a great core relationship between the character of Laura and her soon-to-be ex-husband, their kids, the dynamic in the police precinct. It was all incredibly well thought out. That pilot episode, I really just translated and threw in a few American jokes, and that was pretty much it for the pilot development. I made it my own. I Americanized it somewhat, contemporized it to some degree, but we were quite faithful to the script.
I didn't kill Jerry.
And why'd you threaten him?
He caught me stealing, and I was embarrassed or whatever.
After that first episode, we went off in a few different directions. A lot of the stories that the original creators dramatized in later episodes, the cases that they solved, were almost a celebration of classic mystery stories in the spirit of Hitchcock or Agatha Christie. And the network that I was working with in the States wanted to go in a more contemporary direction. So we ended up not utilizing the subsequent mysteries, the cases that the original creators had used.
How did you and Nina meet?
At a charity picnic. The moderator asked how many of us had been diagnosed, and Nina seemed reluctant. I just told her that she didn't need to be nervous or shy. I'd been through it. Anyway, she raised her hand, she hugged me. We were friends ever since.
I don't think procedurals will ever go away, at least not on American network television. There's always going to be an appetite for closed-ended episodes that audiences can check in on and check out, and then come back in a couple episodes later and pick up where they left off. So, they're not the sexiest shows on any network's development slate, but I don't think they'll go away entirely. That said, I think the sweet spot for procedurals are those that can combine closed-end cases with a serialized element, whether that serialized element is one relationship that's arcing throughout the season, or perhaps a serialized mystery.
Hike.
So many channels that one can tune into at any given time. It's impossible for the broadcast networks to hold shows to the same standard that they did as recently as 3 or 5 years ago in terms of that baseline rating that has to be hit in order to receive a back order and come back for a second season. And because the bar has been lowered, it gives creatives a longer time to let their shows breathe and evolve. And it's also allowed shows to become a little bit more niche and specialized.
I'm with Tony.
I don't care. It's good food, good wine, good music. Don't be a weenie.
He's 7 years old.
What are you, 70? Come on. I love being your partner, Laura, but I miss our friendship.
All right, I'll agree to Saturday if you get a second opinion.
Firewall is a show that I'm creating and executive producing with my friend and colleague Bruno Heller, who's a wonderful television creator, British, and is responsible for the shows Rome and The Mentalist, Gotham, and he's an incredibly talented, lovely man. This show I would describe as almost a real-life Batman. I've kind of taken the idea of the billionaire. I guess Batman was probably a millionaire vigilante. Well, in the modern day and age, that becomes a billionaire vigilante. But the idea is someone with incredible resources who's experienced a personal tragedy and as a result has lost faith in the system, lost faith in traditional methods of justice, and therefore decides to take matters into his own hands. So if that sounds a little bit like a superhero show, that's the paradigm that we're going for, minus the superpowers. Regular guy, regular resources, but it kind of asks the question, what if a modern day Silicon Valley billionaire decided to put their day job aside and just focusing on tracking down the bad guys who fell through the cracks in the system. So that's the conceit. We're having a lot of fun developing it. It's a darker drama with some darker comedic strains running through it, but it's not for the faint of heart. That said, it's network television, so I think that everybody would be able to handle it. But it's about catharsis and reaching into, our guttural instincts to right things that are wrong.
Oof, what a way to go. Cooked like a Christmas ham.
How long has he been in there?
All night, from what I'm seeing. Any sauna is like a glass of your favorite wine, safer in moderation.
And without a door jamb blocking your exit.
I think that the writer's room continues to be a predominant feature of how creators, showrunners, producers get through a season. One of the unique aspects of American television is just that the episodic orders are so unwieldy, typically, at least on a network show where you're talking about, typically 20 plus episodes, that it becomes all but impossible for television creators to do it all on their own, nor would we want to. So I think that the writer's room will remain an integral part of television development. That said, because there are a lot more shows that are being developed in America that follow either the streaming model or the premium cable model, where it's a limited order, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, you are seeing more examples where the original creators are trying to write as much on their own as possible and possibly not creating a full writer's room to work with. Sometimes these streaming shows and these pay cable shows are afforded the luxury to do all of the writing before they go to camera. And certainly in a situation like that, it is conceivable to write and produce a show without running a writer's room. But in network television, almost always, you're going to camera shooting the first episode when you've only broken about 25% of the episodes that you're going to shoot that season. And therefore, literally to get the job done, it's not possible without the support of a writer's room. And thank God for the writer's room as far as I'm concerned. I would never want to see it go away.